Hey there, fellow project managers. This is Dan Bell, and today we're going to talk about using filters in our Microsoft Project step-by-step series. So what do filters do? So basically, so we're talking about filters and highlighting. When it comes to filtering, when you apply a filter, it actually hides the rows in a task or resource table that don't meet the criteria specified in the filter. Okay, so filtering is when you want to actually filter information out or in, if you use them in the opposite way. Highlighting, on the other hand, basically applies a yellow formatting or yellow highlighting to the items that meet the criteria in the filter. You do have a number of built-in filters in the system by default that can be applied as a filter or highlight. However, you can create your own, and this is very, very common to do. So if you look at this list, here are some filters you can create to help you ensure your project schedule aligns with best practices and will help you manage your project successfully, right? So very important to go ahead and do those things if you need to. We're going to take a quick look at applying some of the existing filters in here first, right? So if I were to look at this particular project schedule, click on highlight here, you'll see under the built-in grouping section that there are a number of items already created in here, right? And not only are the ones in this list, however, if you were to actually click on more highlight filters, you can see the entire list here because not all of them show up in that list that I just showed you, right? So go back here. If we want to filter for, highlight the milestones in the project, I can click the highlight. Do Control-Z, it unapplies it. If I'd rather show items that are on the critical path, meaning if they're delayed by even a day, they're going to affect the finish date of the project. Okay. Conversely, if I wanted to filter just the milestones, you can do so like that. Or, again, critical filter, you can do so like that. Here are some of the ones that I just showed you on that slide a moment ago. If you want to, one of the checks that we always want to do is make sure our tasks have dependencies. I mean, that's the best practice, is making sure every task has a predecessor or a successor, except for the very first and the very last task in the project, right? So if I want to find things that have no predecessor, there are a couple, right? Now the first one's okay, but something's going on with this one here. Technically it should have a predecessor, even if it's a start to start. Tasks with no successor, looks like we have a few here. Again, pretty problematic. I usually close off my deliverables with a milestone here. These aren't necessarily milestones, but still, you're talking about project tasks with durations that do not have a successor. So there might be other issues going on with this project. Summary tasks with dependencies, let's go ahead and apply that. And and anybody who's been scheduling for a while, you fully understand that linking your summary tasks is definitely something we don't want to do, right? Therefore, I can see this summary task acquisition has a successor. This summary task has a predecessor. So we definitely have links there to our summary tasks that we need to do something about if we're managing this schedule. Tasks with other than and as soon as possible constraints. So we typically want as soon as possible for all our constraints on our project tasks. If we don't have something other than that, we're good. But if we do have something other than ASAP, as soon as possible, we definitely want to look at that and see what's going on. Tasks with undefined duration, all this really means is, when you first create tasks in Microsoft Project, right, you create a new task here and you tap off things. Notice how it has 1 day with a question mark. That's basically the situation where the duration is undefined, right? So now you can see it highlights it. And typically that would be a situation where, we created this work breakdown structure. Did we put real estimates on all the tasks? That particular filter will highlight tasks where, we probably didn't. So let's go look at this. Milestones on critical path. Are there any? Yep, looks like there's a couple. And lastly, tasks with no assigned resources. So we typically want everything to have a resource assigned to it, whether it's material, work, cost, what have you. That's that new task I just created, right? So it's not surprising that that task is, showing up as being problematic here. Conversely, you certainly could show these items up either highlighting or filtering, right? So either way you want to do it, you just select from the appropriate area, apply them as a filter. Task with undefined duration, no milestones on the critical path. Now it filters for just those items. Depending on what you're looking at, what you're honing in on, sometimes, in my opinion anyway, highlighting is better because you get to see the full context of the entire project schedule, right? Very quickly though, let's go ahead and create a new filter. So I'm going to do so by clicking on highlight, and you can do it, click on highlight or click on filter. Either one's going to get you the same way, and all you're going to do is click on new filter down the bottom, and we are going to make this be our tasks with let's see, critical duration tasks, right? So I had a few in there already. This one falls in that particular range here. What I want to do is check duration, and let's see if I can type that in correctly. So we want to check where the duration is greater than, and then we're going to ask for user input here because we want the user to input the criteria they're looking for. So this will be a percentage of total project duration, and we'll go ahead and put that in there. The other thing we want in here too is we want to make sure that we're not checking against summary tasks, because summaries are the culmination or the roll-up of a number of tasks, and therefore their duration will always be a little bit longer. No. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and save that. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to do highlighting, since highlighting is my favorite. Critical duration tasks, so like we said, we define the filter, it prompts the user for, and it's basically saying, so what tasks would you like to show up? Do you want them to be equal to or greater than 20% of the overall project duration? If you look at this project quickly, you can see content edit 25 days, copy edit 20 days, set pages to 10, illustrate, design 15. So some of these have pretty long durations here. If I click OK, you can see that this one is 20% of the overall project duration or greater. If we want to do this again, maybe we're going to go ahead and type 15%. So we want to see everything that's 15% or greater. And there we can see, right, the 25 days, the 20, and the 20 days duration. All right, pretty simple stuff. Definitely, hopefully you learned something from this video. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions for subsequent videos, please feel free to reach out. Love to hear from you. Have a wonderful day.